Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review, the last review for the John Candy Marathon, because the last two I'm going to be posting today are the last two films he worked on, Wagons East, which is the last film he was making. He died during the making of that film, and that came out in 1994. But he had made a film before it called this, and this got delayed. So while Wagons East is the last film he made, the delay made this the last film he was in that got released. I know he was in the middle of voicing, I think, a character in Pocahontas, like one of those, something like a turkey or something of that nature, but I actually haven't seen Pocahontas, the animated film. But I know he was going to have a voice in that, but since he died, they pretty much cut that out. But I hate Wagons East, and I hate this fucking movie. I think they both suck. They're both really not that funny, and they're both really lame ways for John Candy to go out on. Because I love John Candy, I miss him. I mean, the marathon I've been doing of John Candy films, I love Uncle Buck and the Great Outdoors, Summer Rental, Nothing But Trouble, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I enjoy, love Stripes, Splash, Who's Harry Crumb? I mean, Wagons East was unfunny and just a lot of shitty cliches that you've seen better in Western comedies like Blazing Saddles. This is written, produced, and directed by Michael Moore, who would go on to do stuff like Bowling for Columbine, Sicko, Fahrenheit 9/11, whatever the hell it was called. And this is the first fictional film and the last fictional film he's done. Of course, this is a whole thing I'm not going to get into with Michael Moore. Are his films documentaries? Are they not documentaries? I don't give a shit. There's one thing I liked from Michael Moore, and I liked Roger and Me. I will admit, I liked Roger and Me. I thought that was interesting. Roger and Me is the only one I could watch. And honestly, John Candy was in a film dealing kind of with this. It was a 1985 mockumentary called The Canadian Conspiracy. And I enjoyed that one more than this. And I know this has its fans. If you go on YouTube, if you go on IMDb, a lot of people think, well, if you don't like this film, you just didn't get it. It was above your hairline. It was above your intelligence. I mean, I guess like a 5.9, but still, you look at the user comments, be like, oh, people just didn't get it. You can get it and still not enjoy it. You know what? If I want to watch, I can watch Dr. Strangelove, which I enjoy. And I, quote, get it. I just enjoy it as a movie as well. I just didn't think this film was that funny. I thought John Candy was wasted. Even though he's front and center, it feels like at times he's barely in the fucking film. The cast, you have Alan Alda, Bill Nunn, who I remember from films like Sister Act, Kevin J. O'Connor, who was in films like The Mummy and Deep Rising, Rhea Perlman, who was on TV shows like Cheers, Kevin Pollak, you have Rip Torn, which I'm like, oh, Rip Torn from Summer Rental? No, him and John Candy shared no scenes together. Little quick appearance by Dan Aykroyd, another quick little appearance by James Belushi. I think this film, there was another film that did something like this where it's Alan Alda is a president, his ratings are going to shit, so him and others think, hey, maybe we'll have a fake war this time, we'll do it with Canada, and then maybe our approval ratings will go up the rise. And it's about how the media can make people believe one thing when it's not real, and it's not the reality of the situation. And I'm not even going to get into any politics that are around today. Honestly, I think the politics of today, it all sucks on both sides, honestly. I'm like the guy that would rather just stay out of the circle and just, I have no dog in the fight. I really don't, believe me, because I'm like, I'm up shit, creed, or piss piss lane. I'll just stay in the middle and just fuck off. But Canadian bacon, I don't even like Canadian bacon. I like, just regular bacon. Surrender pronto, will leave Toronto. I'm trying to figure out where to go with this. I mean, okay, the film itself, an ex-employee, played by Kevin J. O'Connor, the business he was in goes under, he's ready to kill himself. John Candy and Rhea Perlman, they're sort of a sheriff and deputy of the small town, and they're picking up people who are going over the waterfalls, and the company who went under, they're having a deal where they could sell at an auction all these missiles. You could buy a bazooka. And the thing is like, it's trying to be political satire, but a lot of times it's trying to be as subtle as a jackhammer in your fucking ear or a staple gun on your nuts. And I'm like, yeah. What do you expect? Michael Moore in subtlety? Yeah, you got me on that. But it's just... Hell, if you don't be unsubtle, then be funny. I don't really... Can't think of any actual jokes or satire that I thought was that funny. Yeah, I did. The cliche that Canada are the nice people, eh? And a boot, and that's the joke, is that Americans feel that way, and that Americans are idiot, moron, rednecks. No. This fattest is picking on everybody, and no one is safe. Yeah, I get that. Alan Alda invites the Russians, so hey, maybe we can have another Cold War to spiff up business, and they give the Russians KFC, and like, I get what you're doing, I just don't find it that interesting or funny. You know? John Candy's at a hockey game, him and his buddies, Bill Nunn, which, this is a guy there, his whole thing is about jokes about black people because he's black. And, like, the black guy always dies first. And, hey, you remember, you're talking about the Dirty Dozen, don't forget Jim Brown. Or, someone says, oh man, we left someone. Chuck Norris wouldn't have left someone. And then Bill Nunn goes, Wesley Snipes wouldn't have left someone. And it's like, do you get it? Because he's black. But that's the whole satire of it. You get it? Because again, it's as subtle as a fucking elephant sitting on your face and farting until your fucking head goes through the earth. Yeah. They're at a hockey game. John Candy's making fun of the Canadian flag. He's disrespecting them singing. And yeah, John Candy, I'm sure they would say, well, he's playing, the stereotypical asshole American. Whatever with your satire. I looked at the film and I'm like, you know what? He's just an unlikable character that I never root for. You're not supposed to root for him. I get that. But he's an unlikable character. Yeah, he's played by John Candy, but I just don't like him. And that's sad, because I like John Candy, I just don't care for the character at all. To the point of, I don't even want to watch you on screen. You're just an asshole about making fun of their flag, and, he says their beer sucks, and that starts a fight. And you even have Bill Nunn at one point saying, can't we all just get along? I'm like, was that joke prevalent back in 1995? Was it even funny then? I don't know. Someone tell me. But yeah, that's where they create a war to boost ratings of the president, which, again, I think a few years later you'd have Waggle the Dog that had the same kind of idea with Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, which I haven't seen. I would like to one day. I have a feeling it might be better than this. And they run all these news segments about how we gotta fear Canada, and you even have the Green Beret song. 10,000 men will die today in the Green Beret. Rhea Perlman, I guess a reference to Close Encounters. She has mashed potatoes, and she makes, I forget what the hell the actual name of the building in Canada is. It's like a very long, thin, I forget what the hell, thin kind of tower. I forget what it's called. I apologize. But you know, she says, "Have you ever seen this?" And Bill Nunn goes, "Well, I've never seen a white version that's that big." Get it? Because black people's dicks are big. Because I've never heard that joke before. I mean, considering Michael Moore is supposed to be so fucking smart, you're writing jokes that I've heard 20 fucking times in 20 different movies before you did it in 1995, Michael Moore. If this film's supposed to be so witty and satire, can you, you know, be a little bit witty with your dialogue? So they see all this buildup of Canada hate, and John Candy, Rhea Perlman, and Bill Nunn, Tim and Joe O'Connor, they go over to Canada and they start littering the place. And some Mounties go there, arrive, tell them to leave. They leave, but they left Rhea Perlman behind. And the media makes it seem like, oh, it's such a hostage situation, but in reality, she's in this place where it's free healthcare and everything's nice. And she even has all these stuffed animals and get well cards at a hospital. But John Candy talks about how there's a time to think and it's time to act. This is no time to think. And him and the others go to a power plant which only has an old guy and an old woman. And it controls electricity for all the nation. They meet Stephen Wright, who's a Mountie, very kind guy. And I like Stephen Wright, so it was cool to see Stephen Wright in there. And the running joke of Canadians are very nice people. They're very, very, very nice, polite people. And they have people in jail. Well, this guy was in one too many different bad moods. And this guy, he did this very minor thing. And he was even writing cards like, "Thank you for being a good prisoner and for sleeping." So it shows, really, again, just trying to hammer the point that, yeah, Canadian people are kind, polite people. And I'm like, I get it. I get your satire. Ha ha ha. Just like when John Candy and them are driving in the truck, and the truck has all these things like, "You suck, Canada." And Dan Aykroyd's a cop who pulls him over. And he's like, well, the problem here is, according to our laws, if you have any signs, they have to be in English and French. So could you spray paint the French version of that? And that'll be $10, you know, for the fee, for the fine. I'm like, I get it. I mean, this is a joke that you're not just driving to the ground, you're burying it alive and pouring gasoline in his fucking throat and lighting the match. I get it. I get it. I get the joke. It's not even a running joke anymore. It's running so much you're going backwards now. It's not a running joke, it's a dying joke. It's a DOA joke. The whole movie was DOA. It was dead before it got made. One little bit I liked was that John Candy and them, they could not remember the words to "Born in the USA." Like, they know "Born in the USA," but they don't know the rest of it. Because when you actually listen to the lyrics of "Born in the USA" with Bruce Springsteen, it's actually talking about other stuff, and it's almost like, should I be proud that I'm born in the USA? Because, like, these people are out of work, and it's, you know, if you listen to some lyrics of that song, there's kind of some little, you know, I don't want to say depressing stuff, but, yeah, because I was born. But we think of "Born in the USA," like, yeah, America, yeah. But I'm like, if you listen to the other lyrics of the song, you're like, well, yeah, wait a minute. But just an observation. But, so I like that a little bit, because that's something that's I can see that a lot of people, like, they know "Born in the USA," but they don't know the what are the other lyrics. And they be like, born in the USA. So that's like one moment I liked. But the whole deal, like with the military, they Rip Torn's is the major. Kevin Pollak is his advisor. There's another guy who dealt with weapons that we saw earlier in the film, and he pretty much says, "I have the codes to this automatic nuclear response," and he makes them believe it's Canada doing it when he has it. And he's like, "Well, you give me $1 trillion, I'll give you the codes." And then at one point, Kevin Pollak gets the codes, but they have him tied up and gagged, so he can't, give it to them. And then there's a countdown to nuclear Armageddon. And the ending is just a bunch of lame shit where Rhea Perlman escapes, goes to that tower that she made the mashed potatoes out of, sees a computer room, shoots it to shit. John Candy gets there, goes up, he's scared of heights, and just waits for Rhea Perlman to come out. Like I said, it seems like a waste of John Candy. It's like, well, we gotta have him there because John Candy is, the guy on top of the name, but he doesn't do anything at the end. He doesn't do any. If you love the film, name one thing at the end that he does that's funny, or interesting, or entertaining, or deals with anything with the plot. And people say, well, that's the clever part. The clever part is to make the star completely fucking useless in the third act? Wow. I guess that's not my kind of cleverness, is it? I guess I don't think of that as clever. I think of that as lame. Especially when this is technically the last film released with John Candy. Which makes it even sadder. I'm like, this is the last film, and he does nothing at the end. He just climbs up the stairs and then goes on the ledge, and he fucking stays there until Rhea Perlman shoots up the place, and then him and Rhea Perlman go on a boat and go back to America. And then they have like subtitles, like they do with Animal House, where this person, what happened to them? What this person? And like John Candy, he got to be on the show Cops. Rhea Perlman, Humanitarian of the Year. Bill Nunn got to be a hockey player. Kenji O'Connor, no one knows. Alan Alda lost the presidency. Kevin Pollak served 8 months in jail, but now he's with the new president. I mean, if you think this is clever satire, I got more clever satire in fucking the South Park movie. And that dealt with Canada. I got more satire from watching that South Park movie and just listening to the song Blame Canada than I did watching this fucking film. I got more out of the Canadian Conspiracy, a 1985 mockumentary that's never been on DVD that you find on YouTube, which features John Candy. And sadly, I think better uses John Candy. John Candy's in it for like a total of 2 minutes throughout the hour and 10-minute running time of that. And even he's used better in that than in this. I mean, you even made John Candy not funny, Michael Moore. So I guess you could clap yourself on the back for that. You wasted a pretty decent cast. It's not entertaining. It's not fun. It felt like a chore to sit through, and it's only an hour and 31 minutes. And I don't think your satire is as witty as you think it is. And it's not as... I just didn't think it was funny. It didn't go over my head. I understood it. You can understand shit, and it's not that funny. I love the Three Stooges, but I guarantee you there are people who get what Three Stooges are, but they don't think it's funny. Well, you don't think it's funny because you don't get it. They're like, no, I get the Three Stooges. Me, I love the Three Stooges, but I also love something like Dr. Strangelove by Stanley Kubrick. I'll watch that, or South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. This, Michael Moore, there's a reason why Michael Moore never went back to making a film and stuck with his Sicko, Bowling for Columbine, whatever the fuck else he's doing nowadays. There's a reason for that. But anyway, that's just my opinion. And yeah, this is the end of the John Candy Marathon. It's a sad way to end it. Would I make a video of like my favorites? Maybe I might do that, because I don't want to end John Candy on this marathon with this. That'd be too depressing. Too fucking depressing. I want to end it in a better fashion, you know, in a better way. So I probably will do a top 10 favorite John Candy films. Maybe do a worst as well, but yeah, this this. I miss the guy, and unfortunately he got to be in 2 really shitty films, both where he has a beard. This in Wagons East, he has a beard, which that look didn't suit him either. Yeah, tired of talking about this fucking movie.